Oh, the irony of it all. Here we were, the supposedly primitive humans, about to show the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy how to properly build a doomsday device. Because of course we were. Senior Cadet Sarah Chen couldn't help but smirk as she stood before the gleaming doors of the Galactic Federation's most secure weapons research facility on Centauri Prime. The crystalline spires of the alien architecture towered above her, their perfect geometric patterns a stark contrast to the chaos that was about to unfold within. "Remember," Class Lieutenant Rodriguez said with a barely concealed grin, "this is just a routine educational visit to observe alien engineering principles. Try not to cause an interstellar incident." Again. The group of 12 human cadets shuffled their feet, attempting to look innocent and failing miserably. Last month's incident with the quantum probability engine was still fresh in everyone's minds. Who knew that introducing a rubber duck into a quantum uncertainty field could create a temporary pocket dimension filled entirely with toast? High Commissioner Aeltherix, a towering insectoid being with iridescent wings and far too many eyes, clicked his mandibles nervously as he regarded the human delegation. Most honored guests. He chittered, "We are grateful for your assistance in reviewing our Mark VI Planet Cracker project, though I must stress that this is merely a courtesy visit. The device has challenged our finest minds for 37 cycles. 37 cycles, Cadet Mike O'Malley whispered to Chen. That's what, about 40 Earth years. 42.6, Chen muttered back. And they still can't get it to work. The massive security doors parted with a hiss, revealing a cathedral-sized laboratory filled with equipment that would make most physicists weep with joy. And there, in the center of it all, sat the Federation's greatest embarrassment, the Mark VI Planet Cracker, a weapon designed to harmlessly disassemble uninhabited planets for easy resource extraction. At least that was the theory. In practice, it was an 80-foot-tall paperweight that occasionally made concerning noises. As you can see, Aeltherix continued, waving one of his forearms at the device. We've implemented the most advanced theoretical physics principles known to. Is that a quantum resonance chamber? Cadet Chen interrupted, her eyes widening. You're trying to use quantum tunneling to create a controlled planetary fission reaction. Aye. Yes, the High Commissioner responded, taken aback. How did you? Oh my God, O'Malley burst out laughing. They're trying to crack planets using the same principle as a can opener. The other cadets started giggling. Even Lieutenant Rodriguez had to turn away to hide his expression. I failed to see the humor, Aeltherix said stiffly. This is the most sophisticated weapon system ever conceived by. Sir Chen said, trying to keep a straight face. With all due respect, you're overcomplicating it. You don't need quantum tunneling for this. The basic principles of friction and mechanical leverage would work much better. Impossible, declared Chief Engineer Valcorax, a floating jellyfish-like being who had just drifted into the conversation. We've run millions of simulations. The quantum approach is the only viable. Bet you we can make it work in under an hour, O'Malley challenged. The laboratory fell silent. Even the ambient hum of the power cores seemed to quiet down in shock. Preposterous, Valcorax pulsed with indignation, his bioluminescent tentacles flashing angry patterns. Our finest minds have worked on this for 45 minutes, Chen said firmly. Give us 45 minutes unrestricted access to your fabrication facilities, and I guarantee we'll have this thing cracking planets like walnuts. Lieutenant Rodriguez pinched the bridge of his nose. Cadets. Aeltherix declared before anyone could stop him. If you succeed, humanity will be granted a seat on the Weapons Development Council. If you fail, Earth acknowledges the superior technological achievements of the Federation. Sir Valcorax protested. The security implications are irrelevant if they fail, Aeltherix clicked dismissively. And if they succeed, well, we'll all learn something, won't we? What followed was 45 minutes of controlled chaos that would later be described in Federation records as the Great Human Engineering Incident. Cadets swarmed over the massive device like ants on a sugar cube, completely disregarding the carefully laid quantum matrices and probability fields. The problem, Chen explained as she rerouted power conduits, is that you're thinking too small by thinking too big. You don't need to manipulate quantum fields to crack a planet. You just need to hit it in the right spot with enough force. Like splitting a log, O'Malley shouted from somewhere inside the machine's core. You don't quantum tunnel your way through wood, you just stick a wedge in and hammer it. The aliens watched in horror as their precious superweapon was essentially turned inside out. Quantum resonators were replaced with what appeared to be glorified hydraulic presses. Probability matrices were scrapped in favor of simple kinetic amplifiers. Someone started humming "If I Had a Hammer," and soon the entire human team was singing while they worked. "This is madness," Valcorax pulsed weakly. "They're replacing our quantum uncertainty drive with a really big spring," Chen confirmed cheerfully. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." At exactly 43 minutes and 27 seconds, Chen stepped back from the modified weapon and wiped her hands on her uniform. Done. The Mark VI planet cracker now looked decidedly less elegant than before. Where there had been sleek quantum arrays, there were now massive mechanical components that would have looked more at home in a 20th century factory than a high-tech weapons platform. But there was something undeniably purposeful about its new appearance. "This is impossible," Valcorax insisted. "You cannot have succeeded. The mathematical principles alone." "Math is great," O'Malley interrupted, "but sometimes you just need to hit something really, really hard." "Shall we test it?" Chen asked innocently. The test target was a small, uninhabited planet in a nearby system little more than a rocky ball of minerals that the Federation had been trying to crack for resources for years. The modified planet cracker was transported into orbit, and tension filled the control room as Chen stepped up to the control panel. "You may want to watch this on the filtered screen," she advised. "It's going to be bright." She pressed the activation button. There was a moment of complete silence. Then the planet split in half like an overripe fruit. The aliens stared in stunned silence as the planet's two halves drifted apart, perfectly separated along its geological fault lines. Not a single piece of debris larger than a basketball had been created in the process. How Aeltherix finally managed to click out. "How did you?" "We hit it really hard in exactly the right way," Chen explained with a shrug. "The quantum stuff was actually making it more complicated than it needed to be. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution." But Valcorax's tentacles were tying themselves in knots. "The physics, the theories, are all valid," Rodriguez stepped in, taking pity on the overwhelmed aliens. "But humans have a particular talent for finding unconventional applications of physical principles." "You mean they're crazy," Aeltherix said flatly. "Creative," Rodriguez corrected. "We prefer the term creative." The story spread through the Galactic Federation like wildfire. Within a week, humanity had its seat on the Weapons Development Council. Within a month, human engineering principles were being taught in Federation technical institutes. And within a year, the term human engineering had entered the galactic lexicon as a phrase meaning achieving the impossible through questionably sane methods. Back at the Earth Force Academy, the incident was added to the curriculum as a classic example of human problem solving. The final exam questions simply read: you have a planet. You need it in 2 pieces. You have access to advanced alien technology. What do you do? The correct answer, of course, was hit it really hard in exactly the right way. And somewhere in the vast archives of the Galactic Federation, there's a classified file containing the complete technical specifications for the modified planet cracker. The file name is simply KISS Principal Human Edition. Below it, in smaller text, is a note: sometimes the most advanced solution is the one a cave-dwelling ancestor would understand. The humans had a good laugh about that. The aliens still don't get the joke. Some say that to this day, if you listen carefully in the weapons development labs of Centauri Prime, you can still hear the echo of Valcorax's tentacles tying themselves in knots as he tries to understand how a bunch of primitive humans solved in 45 minutes what his people couldn't solve in 40 years. But that's just a rumor. What's certain is that humanity's reputation for solving impossible problems in improbable ways was cemented that day. And if the solution involves hitting something really hard, well, that's just how humans do things. After all, why use a quantum uncertainty field when a really big hammer will do the job just fine? The aftermath of what became known as the Great Hammer Incident rippled through the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. Well, no one except humans, who were honestly a bit surprised it took this long for everyone else to figure it out. 6 months after the planet cracker's success, Cadet Chen found herself giving a guest lecture at the prestigious Galactic Federation Engineering Academy. The auditorium was packed with various species, all eager to learn the mysterious human way of solving problems. She tried not to laugh at the fact that she, a mere cadet, was teaching beings who had been engineering things since Earth was still figuring out fire. Today's lesson, she announced to the eager crowd, is about something we humans call percussive maintenance. A forest of appendages rose into the air. A crystalline being near the front chimed melodiously. Is this related to your quantum harmonic theory of planetary dissolution? Chen bit her lip to keep from grinning. Actually, it's about hitting things until they work. The silence that followed was deafening. She could practically hear their multiple brains short-circuiting. But that's not engineering, protested a gaseous entity, its cloud form condensing in distress. Tell that to the Voyager probes, Chen muttered under her breath. Before continuing louder, let me tell you about something we call mechanical sympathy. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, O'Malley had his own hands full at the Federation's Revolutionary Concepts Division. He'd been specially requested after word got out about his contribution to the Planet Cracker redesign, specifically his insight that bigger spring make thing go boom better. No, he was currently shouting at a team of alien engineers. They were working on a new type of stellar containment field, and once again they were making it way too complicated. You don't need a 17-dimensional probability matrix to contain a star. Just think of it like a really hot potato. A potato, queried Chief Designer XTL, their eye stalks wobbling in confusion. Yeah, O'Malley gestured enthusiastically. When you've got a hot potato, what do? You don't calculate its heat dispersion rate or quantum state, you just toss it back and forth to keep from getting burned. Are you suggesting we juggle a star? Now you're getting it. Back on Earth, the Academy had to create an entirely new course called Common Sense Engineering after the incident. Lieutenant Rodriguez found himself teaching it, much to his ongoing amusement. The first rule of human engineering, he wrote on the board, is that if it looks stupid but it works, it isn't stupid. A particularly brave alien exchange student raised a tentacle. But sir, according to the quantum. Second rule, Rodriguez interrupted, is that quantum mechanics are great, but sometimes you just need a bigger wrench. The changes weren't limited to engineering. The Federation's military strategists were having existential crises trying to understand how humans approach problem solving. They'd run simulation after simulation of potential human responses to various threats, only to throw their tentacles up in despair when humans inevitably did something completely unexpected. But it makes no logical sense, complained Admiral Zell Thor during a strategic planning session. Why would they ram their ship into the enemy? Because it worked was the only explanation anyone could offer. The Federation's Psychology Council eventually published a groundbreaking paper titled The Human Paradox: Why the Most Illogical Solution is Often the Most Effective. It became required reading for all species dealing with humans, though most found it gave them headaches. Even the Federation's Arts Council got in on the act. A new form of entertainment emerged: human engineering challenge shows. Aliens would gather to watch humans solve increasingly complex problems with increasingly simple solutions. The ratings were through the roof, especially for the episode where a human fixed a quantum communications array with duct tape and paper clips. Chen and O'Malley became minor celebrities in their own right. They were invited to give talks across the galaxy, though they spent most of their time trying to convince various species that, no, not everything needed to be solved with a bigger hammer, just most things. The real secret, Chen explained during one particularly memorable conference, isn't about brute force or simple solutions. It's about understanding that complexity isn't always the answer. Sometimes the universe wants you to just give it a good whack and call it a day. The Federation's official archives now included a new category: human solutions. Proceed with caution. It was filled with cases of humans solving complex problems in ways that simultaneously horrified and amazed other species. The Planet Cracker incident was just the beginning. There was the time a human engineer fixed a malfunctioning gravity generator by kicking it, now known as the Newton's third law of technical support. Or the instance where a human scientist solved a complex xenobiology problem by asking, "Have you tried turning it off and on again?" And who could forget the legendary case of the human maintenance worker who fixed a quantum computer by cleaning out the space dust with compressed air? The Federation's most prestigious engineering school even added a new course, Human Lateral Thinking, when quantum mechanics isn't the answer and why that's okay. The course had a 90% dropout rate among non-human students, mostly due to acute logical distress. 1 year after the Planet Cracker incident, the Federation officially classified humans as Category 5 problem solvers, a designation previously reserved for theoretical hyper-intelligent AI systems. The classification came with a warning label: caution, solutions may appear illogical, impossible, or criminally simple. Success rate distressingly high. Chen kept the classification certificate framed on her wall, right next to her academy diploma and a small hammer labeled Plan B. As for the modified Planet Cracker, It became the Federation's most successful resource extraction tool, though alien engineers still couldn't quite explain why it worked so well. They'd created dozens of detailed theories about its operating principles, each more complex than the last. The humans just smiled and kept quiet about the fact that they'd basically built a really big space hammer. And so, the galaxy learned an important lesson: never underestimate a species that solved the problem of being cold by setting stuff on fire, the problem of distance by strapping themselves to explosions, and the problem of planetary resource extraction by building what essentially amounted to a cosmic sledgehammer. As Chen liked to say during her lectures, the universe is complicated enough on its own. Why make solving its problems more complicated than they need to be? The aliens still don't have an answer for that. They're probably still running quantum simulations trying to figure it out. Meanwhile, humanity continues to solve impossible problems with improbable solutions, armed with nothing but common sense, creativity, and the occasional really big hammer. Because sometimes that's all you really need. Just don't tell the quantum physicists. They're still trying to figure out how we did it.